public-private partnership. The Hoboken Connect Project will rehabilitate the historic ferry terminal to add commercial and exhibition space, create a European market at Worthington Plaza, construct a new bus terminal at Hudson Place, and make critical infrastructure improvements to increase bicycle and pedestrian access in the coming years through $170 million in funding for the state. Let's give a hand to Governor Murphy for that. Governor, I cannot be more thankful to you for your leadership, as well as our Assembly delegation, Assemblywoman Chaparro, Assemblyman Mukherjee, for the collaboration at the state and local level. This has been a long time coming, 15 years in the making, but it was only when you became governor that we got here today. So I just want to make sure that we're all cognizant of the trajectory and what it really took in terms of leadership at the state level to get here today. So we're very grateful, Governor, that we're here today with your leadership. I also want to thank LCOR and our community development team led by Director Chris Brown, as well as John Allen, who is here today, I believe, for working with our community through various public meetings and engagement sessions to envision comprehensive private investments that will bring much needed affordable housing. Just by way of example, this project is going to bring 20% affordable housing, which is a new benchmark here in Hoboken. So we're very grateful to LCOR for their commitment to integrating affordable housing into this project. I also want to thank the Hoboken City Council. I know Councilman Quintero is here, as well as Councilman Doyle, Council Member Emily Jabor, and especially Councilman Michael DeFusco. He's our first ward councilman, and he's had unwavering support for this project, especially the amenities, the European-style market we're going to see in Worthington Plaza. It was the councilman's vision for that part of this land, and we wouldn't be here today without that vision. So I thank the councilman for your leadership in that regard. And through this public-private partnership, we'll strengthen our critical transit infrastructure and enhance the quality of life for our residents and bring thousands of permanent jobs to this area. So I especially, lastly, want to thank my friends in labor, Ciro, Kate, everyone, the local building trades, Patty Kelleher, his crew. We all wouldn't be here today if this wasn't truly a public-private partnership. So thank you to everyone. And with that, I will introduce the man of the hour, our Governor, Phil Murphy.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good to be here. Big day for the home team, a day that many thought would never come. Let me start by thanking Mayor Ravi Bala for your always warm welcome to the Mile Square City, and also for your gracious words and outstanding leadership. So thank you, and good morning to everybody. This is, as Ravi has said, a great day for both Hoboken and New Jersey as we come together to formally, and yes, finally, kick off the transformative Hudson Connect project. So in addition to Ravi, who I want to thank again, we're also joined by Senior Vice President of LCOR, Brian Barry. Brian, great to have you. I know Anthony Barsanti is not here, your CEO, but he wanted to be here, so please give him a shout out in absentia. We're joined also by NJ Transit President and CEO Kevin Corbett, who we will hear from in a few moments. The aforementioned Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee and Hoboken's own Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro. And Ravi mentioned the members of council, and I want to add to Mike's leadership here. In so many respects would not happen without his vision and his persistence. So thank you. And to our brothers and sisters in labor, I see Patty and I see Ciro, and I know there are many others here. This is a big deal for labor, a big day and a big deal for labor. So to all of you and your brothers and sisters, thank you for everything you're doing here as well. So today we put a spotlight on what is possible when redevelopment projects bring people together. residents, officials, and builders to reach a common ground. When we listen to each other and learn from each other, the permitting process goes more smoothly, the construction process faces fewer hurdles, and the end results are invariably, if not always, better. And in particular, today we put a special highlight on the critical partnership among the state, as Robbie said. Thank you for those gracious words. The City of Hoboken, NJ Transit, and ELCOR that is finally taking the Hoboken Connect project off the drawing boards and turning it into reality. And it is, and again, Ravi mentioned this, in fact, nearly 17 years to the day since ELCOR was designated as the developer on this project, back on October 12th, 2005. I think Woodrow Wilson was governor. And by that, just making sure you're paying attention. And by that point, it had been discussed for years prior. And I am proud that it is this administration, along with Mayor Ballas and city members of council, that got this deal with ELCOR set and moving forward, because when it's done, what a reality Hoboken Connect will be. I want to give a shout out to somebody, Joe, I don't think Margaret is here, is she? A woman named Margaret Anadu. I'll tell you, this was sitting around forever. I'm going off script for 10 seconds here. Just because it was sitting around forever, that's not reason enough to go forward. So when we came in, and I want to give Joe Kelly and his team a shout out here, we actually asked a friend who was an outstanding investment professional. I believe she did it gratis. So on the house, in between career stops, a woman named Margaret Anadu, to come in with a complete fresh set of eyes. One of the things I learned back in my days as a banker, with all due respect to the time on the clock or money sunk in it, that there's nothing you could do about that. The question is, from this moment forward, does this make sense? And she came in, and to her enormous credit, she called balls and strikes, and she came back to Joe and me and Ravi and the rest of the players here and said, you know what, this thing is worth it. And therefore, I'm certainly proud of, it's a little bit more than 170, it's 176 million, but who's arguing among 6 million? It's $176 million investment in public infrastructure upgrades and improvements that are being invested in Hoboken Connect through the state budget agreement, investments which will work alongside those made by the city, and investments which will further leverage the tremendous investment ELCOR is making in Hoboken's future. And as proud as I am of the budget, I get to sign a budget, but the budget comes to me because of great legislative leadership, and two of them are right here with us today, so I want to thank Annette and Raj. Over the next several years, Hoboken Connect will support nearly 10,000 construction jobs. And when it is completed, Hoboken Connect will support more than 15,000 permanent jobs. It will provide hundreds of millions of dollars in new revenues for the city and for NJ Transit. This economic and fiscal impact is significant, to say the least, but I'm even more proud to make the investment on the state side, because everything that our administration has put forward as our guiding principles for smart, future-oriented urban growth are encapsulated right here in this project. From our very first day in office, our focus has not been on putting up new buildings for the sake of putting up new buildings, but on across-the-board investments that weave together the old with the new, that respond to the challenges of sustainability and resilience by incorporating open space, and which take advantage of their connectivity to mass transit by creating new ways for communities to come together. This is a vision of communities held together by strong transportation and environmental infrastructure, modern and safe transit, mass transit, and made more vibrant, more diverse, and more walkable or bikeable, and more affordable communities where every family can find a place to live. And this is what Hoboken Connect represents. And look at all it will bring together. It's the restoration of the rail terminal and the long overdue return of the long empty ferry terminal to the public sphere, not merely because they are architecturally significant and historic buildings, and by the way they are, but because they can be re-envisioned to provide new amenities for commuters and bring something new to the Hoboken waterfront. It's the addition of new, modern buildings that will rise in a complementary juxtaposition with the old, a melding of, if you will, of the old and the new, where people will live and work, and as Robbie said, a very significant affordable housing slug, importantly. And it's a new and more flood-resilient plaza to ensure steady access both to NJ Transit and the Path. Now, to be sure, there is no lack of excitement in Hoboken. This is a city whose entire persona and perception have been transformed across the course of the past quarter century. Abandoned factories which spoke to Hoboken's past and empty lots which pointed to stalled potential have been turned into world-class places to live and work. People from across the Hudson now come here. Hoboken Connect is going to create a new atmosphere in this historic and well-tread quarter. It will create a space that not only honors Hoboken's past and meets the needs of its present, but it will position the city for its future. And then, if that weren't enough, when reconnected to the Rebuild by Design program that is coming together to make Hoboken's waterfront more resilient to the rising tides of climate change, Hoboken Connect is going to further challenge, if not, frankly, entirely reset our very understanding of what it means to be a modern American coastal city in the 21st century. As I said, I am beyond honored by the role our administration has played in getting people to stop talking about Hoboken Connect and actually start building it. I am up in Hudson County, as you all know, with great regularity, and I cannot wait to see the progress here as Hoboken Connect moves through its construction phases. And I cannot wait to be able to return for not just a groundbreaking, but a ribbon cutting. Thank you all again for everything everyone here has done to get us to this day, and for all you will do to get us through the years ahead. It is now my pleasure to turn things over to Hoboken's hometown assemblywoman, great leader and a friend, Annette Shapiro. Annette, congratulations. God bless you.
So everything was said. What can I say? What can I add? But I will mention that the governor did mention October 12, 2005, which was the day that New Jersey Transit Board of Directors selected ELCOR and asked them to produce a master plan. And I've been working for the city of Hoboken for 18 years. So I know this project, and I remember specifically speaking to Fred Beto, who worked for community development then. And I was very curious, and I asked him some questions. I was a newbie in the city of Hoboken, and he looked at me, and just said, "This project will be done, and me and you will not be here when it's done." And I knew that meant get back to work and stop asking questions, because it was just a brand new project. But he had a vision too, and he loved this project back then. And it went through Mayor Roberts, Mayor Zimmer, and Mayor Bala. You get to unveil and do this groundbreaking, which is huge for the city of Hoboken. I grew up here in the city of Hoboken. I grew up in public housing, so that 20% of affordable housing is huge to my heart, to my community. The labor, my boys and girls in the labor, who I love so much, my family, they all grow up working in labor, which is to the core of my heart. So this is huge. But most importantly, the commuters who rely on New Jersey Transit, PATH, New York Waterway, they will benefit immensely from the improvements which they've been waiting for. This area here is one of the busiest transportation hub, and I could never envision that. When are we going to make it modern? And we deserve a better transportation hub. And I am happy to be here. I am so grateful and honored that I am here to see this, and it's just a happy day. So thank you, everyone. And I believe, Raj, you're up next, right? Come on up, because we said everything we needed to say.
Thank you, Governor and Mayor and members of the City Council. We even have a daughter of the City Council among us. And my dear friend and colleague, Senator Stack and Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro and I were able to really make sure that this remained in the budget and get this through the legislative finish line, owing in large part to the fact that Hoboken and Jersey City enjoy not just one but two legislators on the budget committee, which was helpful. Somebody at the beginning of the summer, I think it was New Jersey Spotlight, asked me about, after passing the budget, about some of these pork items benefiting Hudson County. And I think I replied on the record something like, given the benefits to be derived from these worthy funding requests, this is more like quinoa than pork. And I'm proud of these resolutions. And there's no more shining an example than this one. $333 million of specific directed appropriations toward this part of Hudson County in this budget, leveraging federal resources, by the way, $176 million of which will allow New Jersey Transit's transformational transit-oriented redevelopment project to come to fruition. Thousands of construction jobs and an acknowledgement to our friends in the building trades, and Pat and Ciro and others who are here, electricians, and thousands of permanent jobs. And thank you also, Governor, for the additional $100 million for the Rebuild by Design flood resiliency project, which will enable Hoboken, Jersey City, and Weehawken, and this project to continue to benefit from the good work to protect these flood-prone areas from storm surge flooding and the threats from rising sea levels. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right thing. It takes both a strong, detail-oriented manager and focused manager and a visionary leader to bring a monumental undertaking such as this to bear. And we're fortunate that Phil Murphy is both of those things. And this project has been stalled out now, as we've heard, for a decade and a half. And in 2005, to put in perspective, Twitter had not been founded yet. Uber would not be founded for another 5 years. So it takes the governor's management, the discipline and the focus of his staff, and we had an inside track in Hoboken's own, and the governor's economic development czar and deputy chief, and Joe Kelly. And I also want to acknowledge George Helmy and Paramel Garg for their work on this and so many other things, as well as his visionary leadership to get to this point because of all the moving parts. Took New Jersey Transit CEO Kevin Corbett, who's the best in the business, and also a veteran of the Marine Corps Taxi Service. Some call it the United States Navy. And this represented this represented a great partnership between all levels of government, Mayor Bala's continued advocacy for this project, and to Brian Berry and Elcor for redefining what a public-private partnership can mean. And finally, this is going to continue, of course, this is obvious what it means to Hoboken and Hudson County. It's going to continue a remarkable story of transformation and excellence that our beautifully diverse and densely populated county has personified over the years. But this world-class transit hub, as it will be revamped into, which will make it easier to get across the pond to Manhattan, one of my favorite suburbs of Hudson County, is a model for the rest of the state. It's a model, frankly, for the rest of the country, because it's exactly the type of transit-oriented, mixed-use development that we need to meet both the climate change and the housing affordability challenges and crises that we face in these dense, walkable communities centered around reliable and accessible public transit. So I just really want to acknowledge everyone here today for making this happen, and I look forward to the ribbon cutting. And thank you.
Great words, Scott. I just told Raj, you always look so good. We had a couple of more speakers, but I wanted to underscore, if I may, a couple of things that Raj said. Number one, I want to give Brian Stack a shout out in absentia. I don't think Brian's here, but let's hear it for Senator Brian Stack. It takes a village, and it takes the entirety of your extraordinary legislative team. If you roll the clock forward 10 years, and I think that conversation is going to be right. You'll still be on the scene, but I won't be. But if you roll it forward 10 years and you think about this being completely transformed, you think about 2 new rail tunnels under the Hudson. Kevin unveiled his first electric bus yesterday in Camden, so you'll have an entirely green fleet, both rail and bus. You'll have a Port Authority, at long last, new state-of-the-art bus terminal. The reasons to have confidence to commute and live in and around this part of the state, this part of the country, will be overwhelming, will be compelling beyond any description. So this is truly one of those moments where you can say, without equivocation, without hesitation, that the best days are in front of us. So with that, we get a couple more important speakers. Please help me welcome the CEO and President of NJ Transit, Kevin Corbett, a veteran of the United States Navy.
Thank you, Governor. Boy, what a trip it's been. The almost 5 years when we started and where we are today. It's fantastic to be here. And certainly want to add my congratulations to 2 of my favorite Assembly members, certainly Annette, Assemblywoman Chaparro, and Assemblyman Mukherjee. Raj, it's always a great event when we're together, whether it be here or Town Hall for our bus services. And what can I say that I had high hopes for my son that he would go Navy, and he ended up being the Marine Corps. I don't know what I did wrong. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And Brian Barry, thanks. When we look at Elcor, with today's holiday, David Sigmund can't be here, and sorry, Anthony can't be here, but this has been a long time in coming, and it's extremely exciting. And it's great to be here with everyone to celebrate the governor's really tremendous investment in NJ Transit's future, particularly here at Hoboken Terminal, and to kick off the Hoboken Connect Project. I'd say, as the governor said, it is almost impossible to overstate the importance of this terminal to NJ Transit and its customers, and to the continued economic vitality of the region. We're served by 9 NJ Transit rail lines, Metro North, NJ Transit buses and private bus carriers, the Hudson Bergen Light Rail, and the PATH train, and Clarel de Graaf is here, great partner, and New York Waterway ferries. Tens of thousands of commuters pass through the central multimodal hub every day. And just as the governor said, what that means for this as being a center, what that's going to mean for economic confidence, for investors, for business people, for residents, is cannot be overstated. But I think, as many of you know, and if you look around still, NJ Transit inherited, when we were created 40 years ago, this terminal and many of its associated assets in Hoboken. They were in a significant state of disrepair. And thanks to Governor Murphy's $176 million commitment, our dream of transforming Hoboken Terminal into one of our system's crown jewels can now finally become a reality. This is unlike New York Penn Station. That's, there's a whole different set of ownership issues. Here is something that we can really determine our own history for. And Governor, thank you so much for the money and giving us the tools needed that we can do that. In addition to the private phase of this project, which includes the residential, commercial, and retail development, there's also the transformative elements in the public phase, which includes dramatic renovations to the historic station building, construction of a new bus terminal, significant rehabilitation of the first and second floors of the ferry terminal for publicly accessible commercial and exhibition space, and I think there's a good rendering of that there, and the redevelopment of Warrington Plaza. So, Governor, cannot again thank you enough for your leadership, and again, the collaboration we've had with our partners, with the mayor, Bala and his team, Joe Kelly, again, shout out to Joe and his team, and then certainly, Elcor, Brian, Anthony, you, David, and your team that has brought us here today. I would say, though, that is not all that's going on here from a New Jersey Transit perspective to improve the customer experience. In addition to Hoboken Connect, NJ Transit has approximately $500 million in other improvement projects underway in Hoboken, some which are more visible than others. This includes our $284 million long slip project, the canal at the end that has been filled in, and now the full length of the canal to eliminate it as a conduit for floodwater in complement to the RBD project. The second phase of the project, soon to begin construction, includes additional 3 high-level accessible platforms to support 6 new tracks and other amenities related to that on the south end of the terminal. And we are also making significant upgrades to improve the reliability of the electrical power at Hoboken, including 3 substation projects, signal and power overhauls in the Hoboken yard, and important substructure repair work at the terminal itself. All this work here at Hoboken will help deliver a more resilient facility and, more importantly, improve customer service and reliability for all of our customers. To wrap up, I'd be remiss if I failed to mention that this isn't the only significant commitment Governor Murphy has made to NJ Transit and its customers in his fiscal year 2023 budget that Raj highlighted. The governor allocated $814 million to 7 NJ Transit stations, including Hoboken Terminal, along with the construction of a maintenance away facility in Clifton. Securing these funds are so important, not just for today, but to ensure that we have the funding in place, which labor, again, shout out to our friends in labor, knows that without that commitment, we can't go to contract. Now with that money, we can go to contract for not just the work here, but also really to fill out critically important projects in our 5-year capital plan that otherwise would have had to have waited years until funding was available. In fact, in all, we have 20 rail stations now in design or under active construction. Our head of capital programs, Rich Schaefer, noted that there hasn't been this much active station work on our rail system at one time since the 1800s when it was originally built. So that's compared to where we were 5 years ago, Governor, it's night and day. The end result will be a significant improvement to all our customers and their overall experience, delivered much more expeditiously at stations throughout our system. So in closing, Governor, again, thank you so much for your great support and leadership from where we've been in 2018 to where we are today, and this is really a testimony to your efforts. And as always, Assemblywoman and Raj, as always, a pleasure and a great day to be here with you. So thank you.
Branches of the military have been referred to several times, so let me just say God bless all our veterans. We said goodbye to Jim Florio a couple of days ago, who is a veteran of the United States Navy, so to each and every one of you. I don't think I give Kevin enough public credit for what he has done, but I want to say to him and his team, and many of his teammates are with him today, the wreck within the wreck that we inherited now almost 5 years ago was NJ Transit. Everything from fare prices that kept going up to service that was lousy to stations that were long overdue to be renovated, to you name it. And the extraordinary progress. I talked about what it may look like 10 years from now. I think it's even more shocking and compelling to what it looked like 5 years ago compared to today. And Kevin, you and your team deserve an enormous amount of credit. Last but not least, today is the first day I have ever referred to this project as Hoboken Connect. I've never called it that. It's only been LCOR. In all the conversations, I've had a lot with labor, legislators, Kevin, the mayor, council, you name it, anybody who I'd engage with, it was only LCOR. Murphy, what are we going to do about LCOR? Well, we're here today to say we're doing a lot with LCOR. Please help me welcome their Senior Vice President, who's representing LCOR, Brian Barry. Brian?
Thank you all so much for being here today. This is an exciting moment that I can be truly grateful for, to say that I was only 6 of those 17 years of that process, which is just fantastic. So it's great to see so many familiar faces. I am thrilled to be here today to share remarks on behalf of LCOR about what is truly a transformational opportunity for this city and its residents, and New Jersey Transit and its commuters, and the state more broadly. The successful design and execution and implementation of a project of this scale and complexity requires finding a balance between a variety of interests and stakeholders throughout the process. The only way that that can be achieved successfully is through leadership and a commitment to partnership. I want to extend my sincere thanks to Governor Murphy, Joe Kelly, and his entire administration for their steadfast commitment to leadership throughout this process, which brings us here today, as well as the commitment of capital to New Jersey Transit for its infrastructure improvements, and their vision to realize the broader benefits that this project will yield both locally and statewide upon completion. I want to thank Mayor Bala for his leadership throughout this process locally, and the city council members for everything that they had done throughout those long meetings, those hours spent talking about it, trying to find that balance in that process. New Jersey Transit and Kevin Corbett and Bill Vaquera and the staff there, which have committed countless hours of working with me and our team to strike that balance between the city and New Jersey Transit to be able to find the opportunity to realize the full potential of this project. I want to thank Assemblywoman Chaparro, Assemblyman Mukherjee, Senator Stack, and our friends from Labor, who have all played a vital role in getting us to where we are today. So Hoboken Connect and the vision that we're going to realize will result in significant new investment in New Jersey Transit and city infrastructure, deliver much needed affordable housing to Hoboken, create opportunities for the delivery of new office space with irreplaceable connectivity, resiliency, open space, historic preservation, revitalization, and drive economic development through the creation of jobs, increased ratables, and economic spending. I know that I stand here representing Elcor, and I speak for everyone when I say we are excited to begin what now is the hard work of realizing this, to continue to work with our strategic partners in this process, transform this gateway to the city and state, and restore the heart and soul of this downtown city with the transformation of Hoboken Terminal. So I thank everyone for their commitment, their patience, and look forward to continuing this relationship going forward. So thank you.
Congratulations. Tell the boss I said hi. That was really well laid out, Brian. So listen, as they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. On behalf of the mayor, council, NJ Transit, our legislators, Elcor, brothers and sisters in labor, everybody here who's so committed to this, our team, Joe and Carolyn and Eric, I think I see the three of you here, to each and every one of you, big day. I think, again, we're going to look back X years from now and wonder, why was that such a difficult decision? Why did it take so long? Because it will transform not just Hoboken, but the entire reality for so many folks in Jersey. God bless y'all. Thank you.